everybody. It's Lala Black Sheep. I'm here to do this week's True Blood review. So this is True Blood Season 6, Episode 9, titled Life Matters. I'm going to try not to make this video as long as my last review was. I'm going to try. But it seemed like it was a lot, but then again it wasn't, because I love Terry. I was heartbroken when he died. It was like you knew it was coming. You knew it was gonna happen at some point, even after he was glamored, because we all knew about the hit that he put out on himself. But it was still devastating when he did die. So I appreciate the funeral, because we basically had the whole Eric and Bill mission to save the vampires from the White Rum portion, and then we would kind of flash back and forth from that to Terry's funeral, his service, which was very touching, but it was also long and it seemed like a lot of filler, you know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna try to keep it short and sweet, and short will probably be like an hour. I don't know, but I'm gonna try, no promises. All right, so we start off in Fairyland, the fairy plane, basically, with Sookie and Bill. You know I'm going to be looking up and down at my notes and everything, so bear with me. But we start with Bill and Sookie, and they're going to the fairy plane to get Warlow, because Sookie finally decided, you know, all sad and trembly in her black funeral dress, that she was going to become Warlow's fairy vampire bride forever and ever and ever, in order to save all of her friends. Okay, now they get there, and we see Warlow. He's all, you know, or whatever. I knew he wasn't dead. That's the thing. I knew he wasn't dead. I know a lot of people were saying, like, oh, he's dead. Warlow, they killed him. But I'm like, he's half fairy and half vampire. And either one of those guys, whenever they die, they're either like a pile of mush or a pile of dust. And he wasn't a pile of anything. He was just kind of laid out, you know, with his neck all bitten up. So he was knocked out, okay? Basically almost empty, because Eric got in there after drinking Adeline's blood, and he drained Warlow. So Sookie's like really upset. She's like, oh my God, Bill, we gotta help him. You know, he's really weak, and we have to save him. And Bill's like, you know, bitch, I ain't got no time for this. We gotta go and save the vampires. Like, you said that you was going to help me get him out of here, and we gotta synthesize his blood. And Sookie is like, Bill, like, Eric has more blood in Warlow than Warlow does right now. Or Eric has more Warlow's blood in him than Warlow does. Excuse my, this bang is, I'm trying a new look, and it's just so long. They need to, like, cut it. Short attention span. Okay, so, you know, Bill's like, I don't got time for that. Like, I'm not worried about that. We got to do this. We got to stay on point. We got a mission. You know, and Sookie's like, no, like, it's over. I loved it when she was like, Eric took our plan and fucked it in the ass. Like, Sookie, calm down, boo-boo, because you be cussing. And she just sounds so awkward when she says it. But, you know, they're going back and forth. Warlow is busted. Bill, you know, grips Warlow up, and he's like, I'm out. Tell me how to get out of here. And Warlow's like, you know, no. And Sookie's like, Bill, no, like, I'm telling you. So, oh yeah, that's what Sookie was like. I have to feed him my blood so I could so we can, you know, revive him and get him a little better. And she's like, I got a problem with the fact that Sookie has gotten so comfortable with, like, gnawing at her skin and biting herself open like human teeth. Okay, you know, we got our sharp ones and everything, but I still don't see how I can, like, just easily bite a hole into my arm if I need to. Alright, and she's real comfortable with it. I don't care if a vampire is going to heal me afterward, or a vampire fairy is going to give me his light. It's still got to hurt to be biting into your arm like that. And Sookie just does it like it's nothing. Like, oh, you need some blood? And I'm just like, okay, Sookie, like, you got to, sometimes you just got to kind of sit back and reflect, like, the hell am I doing with my life? But, if it up, now, go. Can't say certain things in front of the kids. Got to make sure they're not around, okay? So now my boys are upstairs, out of earshot. So when Bill snatches Warlow up, he's like, help me get out of here. Because, of course, he can't go. He's a vampire. And, you know, they're both like, no. Warlow tells Sookie to use her light. She's like, it won't work. He's like, bitch, use it. You know what I mean? Like, come on now. So she flashes him. blows Bill out of Fairyland or whatever. He all, jumps back and slides like he's so awesome he didn't even fall on his butt. Super Bill. And he's just like, fuck this, I'm out. So he leaves. And Sookie feeds Warlow. Okay, I wrote notes yesterday while I was at work, but I don't seem to. I guess I'm just have to pop back and forth because I'm like remembering a lot of it on my own. So she feeds him, and he's like thanks or whatever. Now Sookie realizes that the funeral, because they're in a cemetery. I read in one of the reviews they called it a cemetery. I thought that was cute because they're got their little fairyland in the cemetery. Anyway, because they're in a cemetery. Sookie realizes that Terry's funeral is starting because today is his funeral. So she's like, I gotta go, to Terry's funeral, support my people. And Warlow's like, yeah, before you go, you remember that whole thing that we had about you being my girl forever? You came here ready to do that, right? And she was like, yeah. And he was like, well, what's up? You still gonna do it? And she's like, when I make a promise, I keep it. I don't know about that, Sookie, because I understand keeping promises and being true to your word and everything. Yeah, I got it. Very good. Good for you. But if he didn't even have to do what he needed to do, I would be like, I said all of that, but you didn't really help me because you got, and that's not my fault. But maybe she just said it so she could go. I don't know. I really don't see Sookie, actually turning into a vampire. Just don't see that happening. It's weird, but we'll see. And I don't trust Warlow. I don't trust him. I understand all of that. I loved you for 6,000 years and everything, which I give the side eye to on its own. But seriously, when he came to her bathroom, talk about Sookie, you're mine. I'm coming to get you, girl. That wasn't very romantic. Okay, so I'm not really sure that Sookie is really all for this. I don't think she's that stupid. She may act like she is, but I don't think so. But either way, so she leaves. He's like, all right, good. You my girl. I got you. My ex used to always say, like, don't talk to strangers, which I thought was cute at the time. But somebody like Warlow told me that, I would just be a little suspect. He's just weird. He's weird, and it freaks me out. If I was Sookie, I would move after Terry's funeral. So they go. And let me see. Boom, boom, boom. So then we switch over to Eric. Now, I want to do Terry's funeral because it's important, but I'm like remembering things in bits and pieces, and they bounce back and forth so much. So bear with me. I'm gonna try to cover everything because one thing I can't stand is when somebody does a review and they miss things or just leave things out, whatever. So I'm gonna try. All right. But if I forget anything or I miss anything, please leave it in the comments below. I appreciate it. I love you guys. I appreciate your support. Okay. So Eric they go to the funeral. Everybody's arriving. Boom. Whatever. We'll get back to that. So Eric is like going. He's doing his old badass go through, kill everybody. He goes to the Vamp Camp compound, and you can see Bill kind of trailing after Eric. Okay, like he gets there and he's got like guards, bits and pieces of guards. You got a guard head over here, you got a guard arm right there, you got a leg, somebody's butt over there. Like just little put the pieces together guards. And then you see, so of course, and here's Bill with the Eric. We looking around. Eric. We know it's Eric, Bill. Stop it. We know. We ain't that stupid. We got it. That's who did it. Eric did it. Keep walking. Okay. So we see Eric inside. He's got like a bunch of arms and a bunch of hands. Like which one opens the door? Like he just needed like a big ass arm key ring or something like that. Just kind of which one. So he used one of them to get inside. And who does he run into? Dr. Overlock. And if you don't remember, Dr. Overlock is the doctor that was all happy and gung-ho to shoot Nora up with the Hep V when they were torturing Eric and Nora. So when he saw Dr. Overlock, I was just like, I was like, oh hell. Like, I could not imagine what Eric was actually going to do when he saw him. So, Dr. Overlock's like, Eric Northman, like, oh, shit. And I'm like, yeah, oh, shit. Like, and before I can even try to think of what Eric is going to do, don't you know this dude walked up to him over the table, just in his face with his little fast vamper phase walk thing. grabbed this dude's Peter reader and ripped that motherfucker off. Like, rip, this is yours, at the wall. I was like, oh, that was terrible. I'm a girl, okay? I'm a woman. But I still was like, no, like, I can't. I got sons. I've had boyfriends. I got men in my life, and I understand that area, that little part of their bodies are very, very important. They don't even want you grazing that thing, let alone just ripping it clean off and throwing it across the floor. Like, he threw it across the floor. I was like, what did you think he was going to get to it and tape it back on? Like, after you pull it, child, you could have just put it in his hand. It wouldn't have mattered. And so it was funny. It was like the way he was like, oh. Hold on 1 second, I'm sorry. Miles, get your brother and ask him to get it for you, okay? Do what I said, okay, please, so I can finish my video. Thank you. Love you, babe. Sorry, guys. Yeah, so he let him drop to the floor. And he's like, I'll be back to make sure you bled out. Like that was any question. Of course he's going to bleed out. By the time he walked out, dude already had like 80% of his blood on the floor underneath him. So he goes, okay. And, okay, where am I at? But then he shows up at Gen Pop. And he uses one of his little arms to get in. He walks in and he's like, all right. You guys are free to go. And he didn't even have to like say it twice. Like it was like shoo. Everybody was out. But then there was this one little baby vampire that was just kind of sitting there, and he's like staring at the little cell drawers or whatever that the vampires sleep in. And Eric is, he's kind of picking out one of the little access chips or whatever out of one of the arms that he took from the guards to kind of keep in his pocket. I guess it's just a little, inconvenient to have to carry around a bunch of arms or whatever. So pick it out, make it easier, lighten your load. So he tells the little baby vamp, like, yo, I said you can go, like, go ahead and be free or wreak havoc or whatever, and the baby vamp's like, my maker is in that drawer or whatever. So he pulls him out, and he's got the blacky blue, Hep V veins going up his neck. And Eric's just like, dude, like, your maker is going to die a horrible death. You can stay here, you can watch it, or you can just go ahead and deal with the people who did this to him. You know what I mean? Either way, I ain't got no time for this. I'm not babysitting nobody. I'm sorry for you. Sucks to be you, or at least sucks to be your maker. But I got stuff to do, so I'm out. Deuces. And I don't really know what the guy did. I can't really remember. I don't think it was really important. Moving on. So Bill is close behind, okay? I'm sure we're flashing back to the funeral. I will get to the funeral, I promise. So Bill's close behind. He shows up. Of course, I told you, he saw like all the guards. He's like, Eric. And he gets inside and he sees that, the doctor, Dr. Overlock, all bleeding out and everything. So I love how Bill like walks up to the dude like and starts a conversation with him. Like he's a little busy dying, but he's like, did a tall blonde vampire do this to you? He's like, well, who did this to you or whatever? He's like, Eric Northman, please kill me. And Bill's like, well, do you know a redhead named Jessica Hamby or whatever? And the doctor's like, yeah, man, yeah, like, kill me, like, whatever. He's like, did you hurt him? Yeah, I hurt her. I don't even know if he did. I know he's done different things, but I'm pretty sure he just said yes because he wanted to die. Now, that part annoyed me a little bit. I get it. You're strong. You're super vamp. You got Lilith's blood. Vampires are just strong, period. But the way he stepped on dude's head and crushed it, I hate when they have that in movies and stuff, that whole head crushing thing where you like squash the head, just squash it. That's stupid. Just don't do it. It looks fake. It looks cheesy. And I feel like a lot of these deaths that they're having on True Blood is just like, it's like, okay, all right, I get it. Like, stop it. Sometimes it just seems so unrealistic. It's like campy and it's not cool anymore. It's just cheesy. So when he smashed his head in, I was just like a friggin' watermelon or something, whatever. I wasn't feeling it. It was gross, but it wasn't even gross enough to be like ripping the dude's pee-pee off was a little, that had more impact. I was like, So anyway, he kills him, walks away. Good for dude. I don't even know why dude was still alive by the time Bill got there. Bleeding out doesn't take very long, especially when it's your Johnson that was pulled off. But I'm just saying, you know, this is not for medical experts. It's just for entertainment, right? Okay. So the vampires are running around, and they're running around the prison, torturing people. Eric gets to Gen Pop, the female Gen Pop area, you know, so he goes in there, he's like, you're free to go. All the women bounce, and then he sees Jason laying on the table. And I didn't even realize that when last episode, when they took the women away, when they took everybody away for not drinking the True Blood, that Violet was with him. Like, it never occurred to me until I saw Jason on the table, like, oh, like they took Violet, he didn't have nobody to protect him. So all the women were just feeding on him like crazy. And I'm just like, oh, my poor baby. Like, I did not even realize that he had no one to take care of him, because they took all his friends and they took Violet. So Eric got there just in time, because Jason was like, he was almost dead. Like, he had bites all over him. He was pale. He was tired. Poor baby. So Eric comes up to him, and, you know, he's like, oh, like, it's funny seeing you here or whatever. I don't know. Did Eric know Jason was in there? I can't remember if Eric knew Jason was.
No, he escaped before.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, he didn't know Jason was there. My son is down here getting a Pop-Tart for my baby. If you notice, I stopped cursing for a minute. Yeah, so he's like, you know, fancy seeing you here. And Jason's telling him, like, they took everybody. That's my Philly coming out. They took everybody. You know, Jessica, Pam, like, all of them. Tara, everybody is going. So Eric is like, oh, okay. He's like, wait a minute, last time I saw you, you were like spouting some really hateful stuff about vampires. And Jason's like, yeah, I know, like, seriously. You know that Jason got better after Warlow healed him with his blood. Like, all of that craziness that he was going through with his parents visiting him, and, you know, coming to him within these visions and kind of putting him against vampires, all of that went away. I think he had like a bad concussion. I don't know what was going on with him really. Baby, what was going on with Jason when his parents were like popping up and telling him bad things about vampires? Was it just the concussions and everything, or was something like going on with him other than that?
I'm pretty sure he had like a minor concussion, and his parents kept like overshadowing him slightly, and they would like just make him really angry all the time.
Okay, so they just kind of took advantage of the fact that he was weak because his head was messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after. He's a True Blood watcher. We can't watch it together because it's so inappropriate, but he's a teenager, so he's cool. Yeah, so because his parents stopped coming to visit him and getting his head and everything, he got better and realized, like, I don't really hate vampires, like, so I'm cool. So yeah, so Eric was like, last time I saw you, you was wilding out about vampires, and I don't appreciate that. Jason was like, yeah, whatever. So he asked him, like, do you know your way around here? You know, and Jason was like, F yeah. So he's like, have I ever healed you before? I don't remember. Jason was like, no. So he's like, okay. He was like, well, you're in for a treat. And he's like, you know, when you dream of me, dream nice things. And I'm trying to tell you, I know that this probably sounds really crazy, but Eric Northman, okay, pale, crazy look in his eyes, walking around with blood all over his face and all over his body, just doing stuff. Oh, my son's back upstairs. That was the sexiest thing ever. Like, I love Eric Northman. I may be crazy. I don't know. Maybe something wrong with me. I don't know if I would really feel that way if a tall, pale man walked up to me covered in blood. I would probably be like, oh, Jesus, I'm going to die. Or, where's my phone? Call 911. But Eric, oh, he could get it. Bloody and all. All right? That is a sexy, sexy man. Vampire. Anyway, so he gives Jason his blood to heal him, and in the back of my mind I'm like, just let my love. He gonna have a new little video, let my love adore you, with his little sex dream with Eric. Okay, I feel for you, Jason. I don't want you to have gay dreams and stuff like that, but I don't know, you're cute, Eric's cute. I might enjoy it a little better than I did with that whole Warlow. That was just kind of weird with the shaving and go ahead, shave me. That was just gross. So he helps him, And they go to, you know, he's like trying to help him around the compound so they can find the white room to save the vampires and everything. And it was funny because Jason's like, hey, you know, what's going on? John said, how you doing? Talking to all the dead doctors and guards, high five. Where everybody's laying around and stuff. Jason is hilarious. He is so funny in his role. I love him. He's funny. So they pass by a pile of like dead doctors and guards or whatever. And, you know, Jason's joking and saying, hey, everybody, because, you know, he hated all them assholes. And then when they go by, we see Sarah Newlin pop out from under a pile of dead people. Like, she's a fucking cockroach. I can't stand that girl. I hate that woman. And I just really, really want really bad things to happen to her because she's horrible. Okay? But I'm sure you guys feel the same way. So she escapes. She gets out because she was hiding, you know, like a little bitch, under some dead people. It's smart, but I just don't care about her and I want something bad to happen. So they're passing all of this crazy stuff. They're passing all the vampires. They're torturing everybody and feeding on everybody and doing all the stuff to them that the doctors and everybody did to the vampires when they were, you know, studying them and torturing them and everything. And they pass by a room with a bunch of vampires, and they're messing with the psychologist or psychiatrist, the shrink, the fat guy, Dr. I don't remember his name, I'm sorry, but the psychiatrist, okay? So Eric's like, oh, you, okay, so he goes in there, he's like, you know, I need a minute with the doctor, and the dude's like, no, and the Vamps bounce, like, Eric's old, he's powerful, all he has to do is say boo, and everybody's gonna move. So he goes and he's like, you know, doctor, excuse my amp, y'all. No product placement. I'm covering it. He's like, doc, you know, you forgot to ask me a question when we were in all of our sessions. He's like, well, what did I forget to ask you? He's like, you forgot to ask me, you know, how you were going to die. And dude's like, like, what? I don't even care how I'm going to die. Okay, you want to know why? So Eric's like, okay, I'll bite. You know, tell me why. And he's like, I fucked your progeny. So Jason's in the background like, oh, you did not just go there. Like, that's your ass, buddy. Eric, it got to him. You know it's going to get to him. So he just got pop and grabs the contact lenses, the little glamour-proof contact lenses out of the doctor's eyes, out of the shrink's eyes. He's like, you know, did you really, like, is that true? Did you really have sex with Pam and the doctor's being glamour? He's like, yes, like, she said she was she used to be a prostitute and she had sex. He was doing a whole little, I don't know if I could do it. Tell me if I did it. But he's like, you know, she told me she was a prostitute and she had sex with me, you know, in order for me to let her go to Gen Pop to be with everybody else or whatever. So he was like, all right, let's go. So the doctor, the shrink is like, you're not going to kill me? And he's like, oh no, I'm not going to kill you. I'm going to take you to Pam, and she's going to kill you because she more than earned it, okay? He's like, you disgusting cretin. He just, God, I love Eric. He is so awesome. He's awesome when he's clean. He's awesome when he's dirty. He's awesome when he's killing. He's awesome when he's turning somebody. I'm trying to tell you, I've never had like a weird crush like this on some fictional character. Just the Eric Northman character is awesome. Okay, he is awesome. But you know, enough of me obsessing and having half of you kind of look at the screen like, the fuck is wrong with this girl? So, am I missing something? Okay. So they take them and they go. They're heading to the White Room. Now, where am I at now? Hold on one second. Because I told you I wrote down a bunch of notes and now I'm just kind of saying what I remember instead of reading. So Sarah, okay, so I told you Sarah was hiding under, this is weird how this looks so like tight, like it's cutting into my shoulders. Sarah was hiding under a pile of dead guards, and when she got out, she was like running, you know, and of course you should have known last episode when she was wearing that white suit that it was basically done so she could get blood all over it. Anytime, excuse me you guys, are you done? Make it quick, okay, because mommy's making a video. Make it quick. All right, Huh? All right. So she's running up, she goes outside and she's running up the stairs to, the top, like one of the big white rooms, the holding cells or whatever, the white rooms that they use. They're like big water towers. So she's running up the stairway to try to get to the top. And the whole time she's like quoting Psalms, I think it's Psalm 23, the yea, though I walk through the shadow of the valley of death. And she's like, she's really over the top. That she's like, this has to happen. I know that a lot of people were talking, I'm gonna get to that. So she's going up to the top of the white room so that she can turn the crank like manually to open up the ceiling, because all of the vampires got out from their holding cells and they're killing everybody. But she's just like, if she could just kill like these super strong, super smart ones that they have locked up in this white room, like I guess her whole thing will have served some sort of purpose. And remember, they still got the contaminated true blood done and shipping out. This is just happening within the compound. So she's like, she's still trying to get this done and complete her mission to eradicate these vampires and stuff. So she gets to the top. And she's cranking that thing and she's like they are not gonna stop me from getting this done. And the sky opens up, and when you look down, you see Bill made it. Bill made it to the white room, and he's just laying out in the sea. He's laying out, like arms out and everything, looking like he's laid out on the cross, looking like Jesus. I do see that. I see the resemblance, and the vampires are just feeding on him. They're drinking and everything. And when the sky opens, when the ceiling opens up and the sun hits them, like they're fine. Nothing is happening to them because they drank his blood. But the whole time that vampires are feeding on Bill, Steve Newlin he can't get in. Like they're all crowding him, and he's like, come on guys, please, like help me, let me get in. They're pushing him away, and rightfully so, because he's just been like, he's the worst. Okay, so he couldn't get to Bill to drink his blood. Okay, so he's like I'm gonna get burnt, like come on y'all, help me. And when he realizes that the sky is opening up, the ceiling's opening up, it's getting wider and wider, he goes and he tries to run out of the room. So obviously, like the door, like Bill opened the door to get in. So he tries to run out. And while he's running out, Eric shows up. And I forgot to mention to you guys that when Eric grabbed the shrink, he heard this scream from like down the hall or something. He's like, I know that scream. It was Ginger with her screaming ass. And he goes, and I think it was like a room with like the human donations or something that they used to feed the vampires that were, in captivity. And so he saves her. It's like my knight in shining armor. I love Ginger. She is so messed up in the head. I think they glamored her like so many times that she just don't even know anything. She don't even know her name. So, yeah. So Steve Newlin is running. He's trying to get out of the room. And Eric stops him like, whoa, where are you going? So he's like, please, like, let me out of here. And then Bill's like, let him drink. Like, Bill's not he's trying to save the vampires. He doesn't want anybody to die, even Steve Newlin. Eric is like, no. Like, every time I lost somebody I love, you were there. Okay, so he's got Steve by the neck and he's holding him out. He's like, get your ass in that sunlight. So Steve, he starts to burn up and everything. He catches on fire. And he's looking up, okay? So you see Sarah Newlin like looking down from where she just opened the roof of the room or whatever. And he's like, I love you. And she's like, oh, me? And he's like, Jason Stackhouse. And Jason's standing there like, the fuck? That was so funny. And then he just poof, catches on fire or whatever. And he gets the true death and turns into a bloody little pile of mush. But that was funny. He got his last word. He's like, boy, like Jason died, I loved you until I died. And that was cute. That was really funny. So everybody was saved. Steve was dead. Then you go Ginger screaming because Steve died. He got the true death and just like, ah! Because she's, oh God, her and that scream. So everybody's like, yay, that's what's up. Eric, so Eric gives Pam the shrink, like, boy, I saved him for you or whatever. She's like, you take such good care of me. I got excited because he was there. He was there with everybody, with Pam, with Willa, and, Tara, whatever. So all of the vampires are like, they're like, oh, the sun, and it feels so good. Like, oh my gosh, like we're in the sun and we're not dying. And I swear, like everybody's just dancing around. I'm waiting for someone to be like, this is the dawning of the age of Aquarius, because it was so like 1970s hippie. We're high and happy, or whatever, the way they were dancing around. I know fairy blood is like a drug to vampires, like it gets them high. So that, you know, in the combination of that and the sun, and I know they were just like, whoa, like this is crazy. So everybody was happy because Bill saved them, and Bill was like out, he's done. Like they drained the crap out of him, and they left, and they're all dancing around outside, and you know, they're really excited and stuff that they're out in the sun. Like, this is amazing. And Jessica realizes, like, wait a minute, Eric is not, I'm sorry, Jessica's like, wait, Bill's still in there, he didn't come out. So while all of this is happening, Sarah's running. Because I think it was like, I can't remember who asked, but it was like, has everybody died that needed to be killed or something like that? I think it was Pam. And Jason was like, everybody except one. So he goes and he's running after Sarah. He ran her ass down, like, and she's like, no, like, don't kill me, Jason, like, please, you know, like, the guy told me to do this or whatever. He's like, no. He's like, she's like, don't kill me, Jason. He's like, I'm not doing it. He's like, you know, Jesus is doing it or whatever. And she's like, you can't talk to Jesus. That's not Jesus. He's like, if you can talk to God, why can't I talk to Jesus? So she had gotten to the car and tried to grab a gun out of her, out the door of the car. But when he caught her, he kind of tackled the gun away from her. So he had her on the ground, and he's talking to her. He's like, God is telling me to do this, and you know, why is it that you can talk to God? Like, Jesus is telling me that this is what has to be done. Like, you need to die, you know. And she's like, well, think about what'll happen to, like, what's gonna happen to your soul, Jason? He's like, I don't know, but at least I got one. And I loved it. I was like, yes, like, kill her, finally. Oh, the way he had that gun up to her chin, up to her face, he's getting ready to blow her head off. But I knew something was like, he's not gonna do it. Okay, so he was just like, you know what, he stopped, he caught himself, he was like, just go, like, get in your car, drive away, like, don't ever come back, like, just go before I change my mind. So she's like, thank you, Jason. She leaves. I was upset because I really, really want her to die, but I don't want it to be on Jason. He said that he didn't want any more blood on his hands, and I don't want it to be on Jason because Jason is not a killer. Like, he's killed before, okay, when he had to. They were usually supernatural. I can't really remember if he killed a human before, but I know that if he would have killed Sarah, it would have messed with him. It would have messed up his head, you know what I mean, and stayed with him. So I was glad that he let her go because I care about Jason. I know somebody's going to catch her ass, though, okay? I want him to turn her. I want him to give her Hep V. I want him to torture her. I want her to catch on fire. I want her head ripped off. Like, I want everything to happen to Sarah Newlin because I hate that bitch, okay? But, so he let her go. So they go back to the vampires who are all dancing around and stuff. And Jessica goes inside to get Bill, and James is with her. You know, he's laid out. Now, Bill is laid out. You know, when he loses a whole lot of blood, he like kind of goes into like a coma where Lilith can talk to him and her sirens can come and get him. They were coming, okay? He's laid out. The sirens show up. They're like, all right, Bill, like, your time on Earth is done. You did what you had to do. Mission accomplished. It's time to go. Like, it's time to die. And he's like, no. Like, I'm not trying to. Ain't nobody saying nothing about dying after I did all of that. But luckily, Jessica and James showed up. And, you know, Jessica went to him. Like, he was telling them, like, leave me alone, get away from me. But he was actually talking to the sirens, but they didn't know because they couldn't see him. So they went over to him, and James is like, we got to feed him. Jessica's like, well, we can't because vampires can't, you know, vampire blood doesn't heal vampires. And he's like, well, we took so much out of him. Maybe if we give him some back, he'll be okay. Like, we drained him. So James is a good guy. I keep calling him Jason. James is a good guy, and everything that he does just kind of seals the deal with Jessica loving him and being happy for him more and more. I mean, being happy about, you know, him being in her life. I'm still not very happy with Jessica about what she's been doing, but whatever. She's young. She's dealing with stuff. So James feeds Bill, and, you know, eventually they see them come out They see Jessica come out. James is behind her. Or one or the other. I think James comes out first and then Jessica. Yeah, Jessica's behind James. And then here comes Bill walking out in slow motion while everybody's dancing. Now, I know that a lot of people were saying it seemed like it had a lot of religious, like, undertones. Like, the whole, Bill out, like this, spread out like he was on a cross with the vampire's feet on him and everything. Like, they were kind of treating him like God. Or Jesus, I'm sorry. And when he was dying and they gave him the blood and he was like resurrected, and the way he kind of came out of the thing of the room or whatever, like he was born again or he was resurrected. And a lot of what Sarah says when she's talking about doing this for Jesus and everything, and when she killed the Miss Suzuki and she's like, thank you Jesus, and quoting the scriptures and stuff, I don't think that the True Blood writers are trying to like mock religion or Christianity or anything like that. I think that it's not reality, it's fictional. And of course, like, if you have a species, you know what I mean, they have their own identity, they're gonna have their own beliefs. Okay, so Lilith is a part of their belief, just like God and Jesus is a part of human beliefs. So I don't think that it's a problem with kind of incorporating that into the story, because it just kind of gives it more life and more feeling. It makes it more substantial when you bring a vampire religion, if you will, into a vampire story. Okay, and as far as Sarah is concerned, she's just an extremist. Okay, and a lot of extremists, a majority of them, are plumb crazy. Okay, like, they believe in what they believe in so much that, like, if you don't believe, you have to die. You don't deserve to live. You don't deserve to exist. She feels that way about vampires or about supernatural beings, just like there are people, like human beings, that feel that way about other religions, feel that way about other races, and other people, that way about people with alternative lifestyles. Like, it exists. So it's nothing wrong with incorporating that into a fictional story. I think it's entertaining. I don't think that it's disrespectful to what I believe in or anything like that, because I'm real. I'm here. Okay, like, I don't have a vampire living next door to me. At least I don't believe so. So I don't think that what happens in a story like True Blood has anything to do with what's happening in real life. Like, it's entertainment. Okay, so there's no reason to be offended by it, because it's not real. It's somebody's imagination and something that they came up with in order for us to be like, ooh, ah. Okay, that's my feeling about it. All right, so they're good. Jessica's like, let's go back to my place or whatever, the party. Ginger's like, I'm gonna feed all of you. And then Violet pops up and she's like, to Jason, like, but you're only feeding me. I was hoping that Violet would at least die, because I just don't want Jason to be locked into being, her human bitch forever. But, or blood bitch, I don't know what you want to call it, but I didn't want Jason to be locked into that whole thing. But it is what it is. I think Violet is going to be a main character. She's a very powerful character, so I can see what they're doing with that. Then it kind of, what broke my heart was when Pam was there. Everybody left and Pam was still there, and she saw Eric. And she's like, don't you dare leave me. And he just kind of pop, and he's out. He flies away. And I was just like, no. Okay, I'm trying to tell you. I'm going to talk about Terry's funeral. Terry's funeral was moving. But I feel like my heart broke more for Pam when Eric left than it did in Terry's funeral. So they do kind of flash around, like around a world where their people are delivering True Blood, and the vampires are coming and they're destroying them, because they're the contaminated ones, and the vampires at the compound destroyed the True Blood that was there. Okay, so I'm guessing that whoever hasn't, a majority of the vampires haven't been affected per se by the Hep V contaminated True Blood at this point, because somebody was able to stop that from happening. Okay. So we're with that. I'm hoping I didn't forget anything with that. If I did, please comment below. Let me know what I missed. And then we're going to talk about Terry's funeral. All right. So, we get there. Sookie comes out of Fairyland, and she's going to the funeral. That little tiny tight black dress, and then this baggie on her. Like, God, she is so skinny. It drives me crazy. So everybody's arriving. Okay. Sookie like almost phased into the funeral. Like, she was so, when she came out of the fairy plane, like she was like right behind the soldiers at the funeral, and she almost got caught. So Reverend Daniel shows up. Okay. When Sookie walks up, like Terry's grandmother's like, is that Stackhouse girl? You know, the weird one. Like, she was doing this through the whole funeral, just running her mouth. Sometimes older people are just like that. It's just like, I'm gonna say what I gotta say. I'm old. I don't care how you feel about it. So Reverend Daniel shows up. Okay, I forgot that he was married to Tara's mom. I hate Tara's mom. So she was there, and she's like just doing the most, you know. Like, Arlene was like, thank you so much for coming. And, girl, we wouldn't miss it for the world. Like, it's a funeral. Calm your ass down. Even Reverend Daniels was looking at her like, really? Really? Go sit down somewhere. So I'm looking now because I really don't remember a whole lot about the funeral. I thought there were some touching parts, but I do have to look at my notes. Okay, so Alcide shows up. He didn't even know Terry. He found out about Terry like last night or something when he was talking to Sam at Sam's bar, but he didn't even know him. And I'm like, it wasn't like he showed up with Sam. Sam was there with his little young boo thing, Nicole. I'm guessing that he told her she was pregnant. I don't know. Maybe we'll find out next episode. But Alcide is there, and he's like, hey, Sookie, like, you know, she's like, thanks for coming. I'm just like, wait, what? And he's like really, really focused on Sookie. And I really feel like he just came to the funeral so he could see what Sookie was doing afterwards. Really, Alcide? But I guess, you know, she don't come to work, so I guess he wasn't going to run into her no other place. It is what it is. I know Sookie shows up. She goes to sit down, and she actually sits down next to Hoyt's mom, and I don't know who the other woman was. I don't remember her, but Hoyt's mom, and she's, hey, how's Hoyt doing? Because remember Hoyt, he was a sweetie pie too. She's like, he's fine. He met a little human girl or whatever. She's ugly or whatever, but at least she's not a red-headed, blood-sucking devil. Like, child cheese, you wish you could be as cool as Jessica was. I can't stand Hoyt's mother among a lot of these other people. So everybody's showing up. It is what it is, okay? Andy gets up to speak about Terry. You know, they were like brothers, even though they were cousins, and they were really, really close. They grew up together, and they were really close. And when he went away to the war, he came back, and he was different. Okay, he was broken. He told Andy that war wasn't a game, and he was really serious about it. And then he kind of ran away to their childhood hideout that they called Fort Bellefleur. And Andy would go there like every day to try to talk to Terry and find out what was going on with him. But Terry would hide. He's in his camouflage, and he would hide. He wouldn't come out. You know, Andy went, and he knew he liked beer. So he went, but he didn't know what kind he liked. So he bought 2 of every kind. And he was telling Terry, like, the liquor store owner started to get mad at him because he keeps on buying like 2 of every kind of beer. You know, so he's like, just tell me what kind of beer you like at least. So Terry kind of pops out, and he's like, Raging Bitch IPA or whatever, which is some kind of beer that he could get while he was overseas, you know, in the war. It was the only kind of beer that, like, the soldiers didn't hate, you know. And he's like, you may have to special order it. And Terry's like, well, you know, that's fine. Like, you can special order it. What you did for the country was special. And he's like, you don't know what I did for the country. So we're seeing that Terry is like terribly, terribly damaged after coming back. Andy is trying things to get him to come out and just kind of come back to the real world. You know, it's this woman that he used to be in love with in high school, and how about her? And Terry's like, does she have kids? And he's like, yeah, she got 2. Terry's like, I can't be around kids, you know, so forget that. So Andy's like, well, maybe I can get you a job. Terry's like, good luck with that. You know, he doesn't have any hope in his own future. Okay, so Andy comes back with Sam in tow. You know, they got the Raging Bitch beer or whatever, because, you know, Sam has the bar. So Sam is like, they're like, let's go fishing or whatever, so you can see Sam and talk to him. So they're going fishing, and Terry's kind of opening up a little bit. They got their beer. They're just talking, and Terry catches a fish. He's got a bite or whatever. So they're all excited, and he's pulling it up out the water, and it's a big old catfish. And they were excited about it, and Terry was kind of looking at it, gasped for air and everything, and he was just like, throw it back. And Andy's like, dude, like, what is this? It's just a fish. And he's like, every life matters. Okay, so from seeing the whole Ifrit and everything, that he was really, really tormented about the people that he killed, especially those innocent people that really didn't have anything to do with the war. Okay, so he's like, every life matters, which is essentially was the theme for his funeral and for the episode, if it will. Not so much at the compound at Vamp Camp. Not many lives matter there, but we're talking about Terry right now. So Sam is like, come and work at the bar with me or whatever, and Terry's like, what if nothing works out? And Sam's like, it's gonna be okay, like we'll work it out. If things go wrong, then we'll try again, we'll try something else. So that's when Sam and Terry realize that they like each other, and their friendship kind of opens up at that point. So you had Andy, he talked about that, and then Sam talked about when they met, okay? And then we had Lala come up, and honey, I love Lala. He is so adorable and just hot and feisty and everything. I love Lala. And honey, he came up there with that little black, what was it, a pinstripe suit? It had purple, with the purple hat with the band around it, and his face was beat for the gods, okay? Them eyelashes. He had them big old fake eyelashes on. Looked like if he blinked a little too much, he'd blow away the whole front row of the funeral audience, or I don't know what they're called, the congregation. Okay, he's just gorgeous, and he was like, he doesn't usually, he when he met Terry, he didn't usually believe in that kind of stuff, but when he looked at Terry, he kind of saw into his soul through his eyes, and my parents are coming in right now. It's gonna get a little loud till I hurry this up. So he fell for him. He saw into his hole. He saw something was going on with him. He was broken. He was tormented. So he decided to kind of help him out. He was helping him make fries. And he's like, when I do it, he was like, I kind of dip it. He was like, it was so cute. And then Terry's like, it was just cute trying to see him do that. No rhythm whatsoever, but it was nice. So they kind of bonded at that point. Then they said that it was time for Arlene to come up and speak, but she wasn't ready. And Sookie could kind of hear her thoughts and hear that she wasn't ready to say goodbye yet. So Sookie decided that she would get up and she would talk, give Arlene a little bit more time. So Sookie got up and she kind of tells everybody, people think I'm weird, and the reason that I seem weird is because I'm a telepath. I can read minds. And when Terry first came to the bar and he met Arlene for the first time, she heard Terry's thoughts, and she heard that Terry really she said he was in love with her the first moment he saw her. Terry was attracted to her, but it was something about Arlene that made him feel like everything would be okay, and that it made him comfortable with coming back to his old life and doing things that he used to love to do. So that really touched Arlene's heart, because she was just like, he loves you from the moment he saw you. Like, you two were meant to be together. You truly were soulmates, and everything that you ever got from Terry was definitely true. And so that really touched Arlene's heart, and she was basically like, thank you, and that helped her kind of get up to do what she had to do to say goodbye to Terry at the funeral. So Arlene got up and she was talking about how Terry was really a sweet guy. He was like a kind soul, and the thing that kind of worked for them was that they would take turns going crazy, because Arlene has been through a lot too. In the seasons prior, like, she really went through some stuff, and I felt really bad for her when Terry passed away. But they took turns being there for each other and freaking out and everything. And when their son was born, the night their son was born, Terry, he stepped back and he helped her, because she was worried. The baby wasn't nursing, and the baby was crying a whole lot, and she felt like she couldn't bond with him. And Terry was talking to her and calming her down, like, it's okay, like, the baby can tell, that you're a little nervous, and if you just relax and everything, like, he'll respond to it. And they had like a special moment. It just showed how sweet and kind-hearted Terry was. He was a great guy. So that was really touching. the grandmother was talking about everybody. She was talking about how she couldn't tell if Lala was a boy or a girl. She's like really racist and intolerant, just a nasty old woman. So when that was over, they were about to wrap it up with the 21 gun salute, and then Big John got up and he sang a song called Life Matters, which was written by Chris Pierce, and I think he's married to one of the cast members. I think Ginger. He's married to Ginger, if I'm not mistaken. So he got up and he sang the song, and it was really nice. It was really touching. I'm going to wrap it up because we're at like 50 minutes right now. And then they did the 21 gun salute, and it was just a very, very nice funeral. So that was True Blood. I don't think I missed anything. Got to figure out where Eric went when he left Pam, where he flew to. It kind of tells me that he thought that when he went back to the compound, killing everybody and doing all of these terrible things to the people who took Nora away from him would satisfy him. But then he realized that when it was over, he still had that hole in him, and that was why he just left, because he wasn't as satisfied as he thought he would be. And that's because Eric is a very different vampire now than he was in the beginning of True Blood in the earlier seasons. So I guess we'll find out where he went, and I'm hoping that this finale is going to be amazing, because I felt like this episode was a lot of filler. Terry's funeral was definitely beautiful and meaningful because he was a very important character, but I really feel like they were just trying to fill things up, to leave us open, to try to figure out what was going to happen. And I'm hoping that they're able to clean up some of the storylines, because this season was really all over the place. It was entertaining, but it was just, a lot of it was confusing, and they just kind of left some things open, and they just kind of jammed things in, just back stories and flashbacks and things like that. It was just really random. I don't know. So very entertaining, but a little random and messy. But either way, this is the True Blood review. I hope you guys liked it. Please comment below if you have any critiques. I love all the feedback that you give. Thank you guys for supporting me in this crazy thing that I've decided to do. And that's it. So I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.